So I'm tempted to congratulate you. I bet you'd be the first to say not until it's over, but you're pretty darn close to it's being over. How are you feeling, Cedric?
We're excited, and we're excited for the American people. President Biden has talked about this plan and the need to get this passed since before he was president. He pushed this bill to the Congress and asked for them to pass it, and the bill will pretty much come out at the same $1.9 trillion that it went in. But we just know what it means to American families. An American family of four, two parents that probably make $100,000 together with two children, will get a check for $5,400. Not to mention that they'll get $2,600 additional dollars in child tax credit. So we're talking about really helping American families when they need it the most. So that's why we're excited about it.
So this was directed, obviously, at correcting for the pandemic, but it also could do something for child poverty, as I understand, in this country. Is this, in your view, a fundamental shift, potentially, toward how we support a lot of those families who are hurting?
We certainly hope so. There are a couple of things that Vice President Biden now believes are value statements. One, no one should work 40 hours a week and not make above the poverty line, and we shouldn't have children living in poverty. And so the American Rescue Plan would reduce child poverty in this country by 50%. And we think that that is something that we should continue to strive to improve on, because that's who we are. And that's certainly who this administration is and will continue to be.
So as you know, Mr. Richmond, well, part of this bill actually enhances the Affordable Care Act, at least for a 2-year period, really subsidizes some of those payments for the exchanges, things like that. Do you have hopes, does the White House have hopes, that that could be extended beyond the limited period of this bill?
Look, just look at what it does. When that same family that I just talked about, when they go to re-enroll in June, they would save almost $600 a month in terms of their health care costs. And so think of all the things that a family of four could do saving $600 a month. And so that's what we're focused on. And of course, our goal is to continue to bring health care costs down in this country, because we believe that affordable health care is a right. It's not a privilege. And every step we can take towards that, we're going to continue to do that.
Do you have any reservations at all? Something that you're concerned about might not work as well as you hope?
No, I don't. Look, we're going to be as efficient and as effective as we possibly can with this legislation. We're going to try to get checks out the door as fast as we possibly can. We know that this is not about the administration. We know that this is not about us talking about it. This is about us doing it. And so we have to get these checks out in the mail. We have to provide all of this other relief. We have to get children back in school so that their parents can go to work. We can reduce the trauma to the children and reduce the kids that are falling behind. So we know we have 1,000,001 things to do, and we have to do it in just a couple of days. So that's what we're really focused on.
And in this bill, you're providing a lot of money for public education to get the kids back in school. There are still some teachers' unions that seem to be reluctant to go back. Is there anything the White House can do, even if it's in the form of using the bully pulpit, to say to the teachers' union, it's time to get the kids back in school?
Look, we're doing everything we can to get our schools back open safely. So we have prioritized teacher vaccinations. We've put in $130 billion in for K through 12 so that we can open those schools up safely with ventilation systems, social distancing, partitions, all of the things that would be necessary to open them up. And we have been very clear since day one that if Congress approved the funding, that it was our goal to get a majority of the K through 12 schools in this country open within the first 100 days. We think we're on track to get that done, but we're not satisfied where we are. We want all schools open, and we want them open as quickly as possible, but we also want to keep our teachers safe.
So I understand the bill's not been signed into law yet, but it's not too early to ask what comes next. Tell me about Build Back Better. You must be working on that in the White House, just behind you there.
Well, I'll tell you, the president's done everything he said he was going to do during the campaign. He said he wanted to pass this COVID relief bill, and then he wanted to build back better. So yes, we're talking about what Build Back Better looks like in terms of infrastructure investments, creating jobs, fixing a broken America, putting in infrastructure for if something like this would ever happen again. So it's about doing a bunch of things. But our first priority is to pass this bill, and then we will work on building back better.
Yeah, and I recognize he hasn't signed into law yet, although it looks like that's going to happen. At the same time, my understanding is you could get the stimulus package through on a 50 vote in the Senate, plus, of course, the vice president. You're not going to be able to do that in Build Back Better, right? Don't you need the 60 votes on that?
Well, look, and I won't get into all of the thinking of the White House. I will just tell you this. I will quote my grandmother, who used to always say, where there's the will, there's a way. And we have the will to make sure that we build back better, that we invest in this country, invest in American workers, American infrastructure, and all of those things, because we know that the American Rescue Plan is not just enough. So it's going to stop us, it's going to help the economy in the short term, but we are looking far down the road and fundamentally changing who wins in America. We want everybody to win, and we don't want to leave anybody behind. So that's why it's called Build Back Better, because we have to build back better than what we had before.
And I have no doubt that you and the president and the entire team have the will to get this done. But I guess what I'm saying is you need at least 10 Republicans to have that same will. Do you see that possibility with a significant Build Back Better plan?
Well, we certainly hope so. And we've been talking to them about it. We've invited them down. And at some point, we hope that everybody will put country first. And so we know America's hurting. We know America has needs. And we're going to step up to the plate and we're going to do it. And we're not going to try to go solo. We would hope that Republicans would come along with us and independents. But to the extent that we are required to go solo, then we may have to do that. But that's not our first choice. Our first choice is to have a bipartisan bill that builds back better, invests in American families.